Y'all see the title, man. Let's get to
The
it.
biggest controversy we had last year in the NBA was who was the
He
MVP.
was wilding with those
And more specifically,
rainbow threes,
who Kendrick
you know what I'm
Perkins
saying?
had first on his ballot.
Straight bugging on
As you
these.
guys remember, he heavily implied Jokic. He was stat padding, only winning MVP because of his skin color. And he even
y'all
went one
remember
step further
this.
saying the voters
Y'all remember
had
this?
some weird motive, some bias to pick Jokic over Embiid. Now, of course, these claims, these allegations, they had no base in reality.
He also mentioned like Steve Nash and I think another person too.
Or actual
Definitely
facts.
was
As when it came to
nasty-
Kendrick Perkins,
nasty
his
narrative,
entire
man.
argument, his entire thesis was built on lies and inaccurate stats. Now, since that moment, Kendrick Perkins kind of took two steps back. He backtracked slightly after the NBA Finals, took heavy cover. But now, roughly 2 months later, Perkins is once again coming out of the woodworks, defending his Jokic take and rewriting history.
This is the problem that I have when it came down to the Jokic situation. It was clips and pieces that people pulled out instead of watching the whole episode, right? So it started with me and Stephen A. debating about Jokic and Embiid, right? And all I was saying was it was about 30-something games left into the season. My thing was that how in the hell with it 30-some games left in the season, we already saying that the MVP race is over.
Now, stopping it right there, Perkins already is lying through his teeth. As what he's trying to claim is these clips from ESPN were taken out of context and his argument was misconstrued. Now look, I don't watch all of First Take, the entire hour and a half, but I did watch this segment in its entirety. As the actual story broke, Perkins had this take.
Uncut, got the, you know what I'm saying?
ESPN posted a lengthy segment that was 14 minutes long. For YouTube standards, that's a pretty healthy clip with some good context both ways.
Nah, facts.
And if you
14
actually
minutes
watch
is
this clip, what they were talking about and debating
more than enough to
was
get it.
Kendrick
You're
Perkins
saying most of my
calling
videos are less than that. You know, so come on,
a
bro.
stat patter.
And he's literally talking the entire, well, not the entire time, but with the other analysts. You know, him and the other analysts are talking the whole time. So
We're trying to average triple
you
double
definitely got time
on
to get your point,
purpose.
bro.
Perkins trying to rewrite history, saying this segment was only about the MVP being declared too early, is entirely inaccurate. As what Perkins says verbatim is that why he was upset with his fans, they declared the race over with 30 games left in this season. Now, that's not entirely true. As when Perkins made these comments initially, it was February 28th, meaning Denver already had played 63 games and the All-Star break was 2 weeks prior. At that point in the season, what you're doing, you're really winding down, getting ready for the playoffs, and your MVP picks, they're kind of solidified and almost set in stone. If you want to accuse Kendrick Perkins
with
of
these
lying,
passes, he's always steps ahead, bro. He's always thinking about what's going to happen next. You know, how the defense is going to react, and he plays with that, and he's so surgical with it, man. So surgical. I love this
rewriting
system
history,
too, man.
or just having a bad memory,
Good basketball.
go ahead and choose one. Because it's pretty obvious he's doing at least one of these in this clip.
Like, no, man, we got 30 games left. Joel is balling. Like, that is unfair to him. That was my first argument. Like, we're not going to do that. I never said that Jokic wasn't deserving. Now, we get to the stat pattern part. People still talk about that to this day. All I said was this. Everybody in the league at some point of their career, include myself, has stat padded.
Now, what Perkins is doing here, not...
Now it is. Go on, Perk. Now you gonna act like everybody do it, so it's not that bad. So why are you giving him so much slack about it? If everybody do it. Everybody has done it. You done it. Come on, Perk. This is crazy.
not so sneakily, is trying to obscure the point by saying everyone stat pads.
Yeah,
I don't
like,
really
come
agree
on,
with
bro.
that statement, but to each his own. The overall point Perkins made in his initial claim, was that Jokic the individual was indeed stat padding. Again, no proof, no evidence, no actual games of him doing it. Perkins just said it out of the blue. But his new comments saying everyone stat pads. It makes you think, if everyone does it, why was Jokic supposedly doing it an actual problem? Think about that.
I just said this.
So does that mean
I
Kendrick
just said
Perkins
this, bro, because it's
picked
like,
Jokic
come on,
out
Perk.
of every player?
That's nasty.
Just singled in on him. Because remember, according to him, everyone stat pads and everyone's done it. And I don't want this to be lost on you guys. Perkins' actual argument for Jokic being a stat padder, it was based on shot attempts and assists by month and by week. And what he doesn't ignore or doesn't understand, that Denver's team throughout the entire season was injured and banged up. As Michael Porter Jr., for big chunks in November and December, was out of the lineup. When he was out of the lineup, Jokic was asked to score more and shoot more. When he came back in, he was more of a passer, as was a facilitator. And looking at Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon, in late January, early February, both those guys missed a lot of time. When they were out, Jokic took more shots. When they came back, he took less shots. It's not complicated, it's not some conspiracy theory. When his teammates were hurt, he took more shots. When they weren't, he took less. It's literally that simple.
The only problem that I had with JJ is when he said, I accuse people of being racist. I never accused nobody of being racist, bro. Like, accusing somebody, and correct me if I'm wrong, racist is that you hate someone of another color. Am I right or am I wrong? That's racist, right?
That sounds right.
Yeah, that's right. So I never said
close enough. I don't know
So
the
I
exact
think Perkins
definition,
right
but
here actually makes a pretty good point, pretty good distinction. And I think calling Perkins any name or saying he hates white players, I don't actually believe that or think that.
Nah,
what I
facts.
think's more logical, more reasonable, I guess, is that Perkins, when it comes to NBA takes, doesn't have good takes and isn't a good analyst.
Facts, and I believe he says a lot of things that are hot takes, I guess you could say. You know, just like a lot of the NBA analysts nowadays, they just say things to get clicks and get numbers. I understand, but then again, bro, your credibility is out the window when you say things like this, bro. This shit is like, what, bro? What are you talking about?
And why I think he had this take about Jokic being a stat patter, having the voters biased in his favor, it was to boost up Embiid, who he was promoting as the MVP. I think it's that simple. Perkins, the actual analyst, doesn't hate Jokic because of his skin color. All he cared about in the moment was getting Embiid the MVP. And the irony of all this, Perkins for
He's trying to
roughly
guilt trip the voters into voting for Embiid. That's what's going on.
person this season said Embiid was better than Jokic, and he was the MVP. But in that last 20%, Perkins flipped on a dime and put Giannis number one. Kendrick Perkins last year was one of the biggest disruptors ever for an MVP race. I'm not saying he swayed the entire thing, that's impossible, but I would say a chunk of the voters, maybe 10, 15, even 20%, because of Perkins' comments, probably changed their vote and went with Embiid over Jokic, as
I like
was
these
Giannis.
different angles too, man.
Bro, when Obama ran for president, I know black people out of my community that never voted in their life. Me,
What is he turning
personally,
this
I
into,
never
bro?
voted
This
in
is
my
too
life.
political for me, bro.
You know, I rushed to go vote for Obama because I actually wanted to see a black president in office. Does that make me racist? Does that make a black person racist?
Wait, what are you
No.
talking about?
It don't. And it happens. Like,
Okay, so he's saying he just basically wanted to see a black person win. Okay, I understand, gang. I understand. But you can't say it's because he's white, that's why he's winning, gang. Like, what? That don't make sense. It's not logical, It's not. Because there's way more African-American players that won the MVP than white players, Come on, bro.
doing it intentionally, but just because you may be rooting for someone of your own kind doesn't make you a racist.
So we took a really weird sharp left turn right there.
Yo,
And
bro,
understand
that's
Perkins
what I'm
was trying
saying,
to say,
Uncut.
bring up Obama, all that stuff. But again, Perkins making his point, he's not the best guy to thread this needle. And I think dumbing it down really simplistically, when it comes to the MVP any award, it should be an objective choice based off merit and not skin color, other things that don't factor into a player being an actual good player. And look, when it comes to Embiid, of course, he wasn't my pick to an MVP. But I'm not
I
gonna
feel
say
him though.
why you
Hold
guys
on.
say
Let me
MVP
let me
when
just say something. I feel him because we all want to see the young black men do good in today's age. But I'm all for everyone having a fair shake, and you can't get mad when it's not going to the black man because my Serbian brother is just that much different. You know, come on, bro. You can't be mad. You can't be mad at that. You can't be mad at that, guy. Come on.
at least half decent, because it obviously was. But if there's two players, let's just say Giannis and Jokic, they're neck and neck for MVP, just you can't even tell the difference. I'm not going to pick one guy or the other based off skin color and these weird criteria that's not even about basketball or their play on the court. And even in the future,
A lot of people do that though, gang. A lot of people do that. People bring up stuff that's not has nothing to do on the court all the time, and it pisses me off too. It pisses me off too. But that's just how people talk basketball. You know, feelings get involved. You know, that's why I try to stay objective as much as possible. You know, but feelings definitely do get involved, and that's always gonna be a thing,
Tatum
bro.
versus Jokic,
For real.
an American-born player versus a foreign player.
Big fans.
I'm not going to pick Tatum solely because he's American, just like me. I'm going to look at both players, their cases,
I mean,
and
bro.
evaluate them accordingly. My overall point being, 2023, it took a...
I mean, you know, I see both sides, bro. I feel you, Uncut, and I feel Kendrick to a certain extent, for a fact, cause not on the other dumb shit he was talking about. He was talking a whole bunch of bullshit, but you know what I'm saying? On the he just want to see Joel Embiid win one. You know what I'm saying? Do good. I feel you. You know. I also feel Uncut too. You gotta be objective. You know. But there's nothing wrong for room for your own kind, your people, your team. There's nothing wrong. Nothing wrong with that. Ever.
Massive hit to the MVP.
There's never wrong with that. Like I bet everybody from Serbia was saying Jokic better win this bitch. You know what I'm saying? And some people probably didn't even know what was going on. But it's just the fact he's from Serbia. My Serbian brother gotta win that. You know? It's just shit like that. Like, it's loyalty, you know what I'm saying? Come on, bro. Y'all know what's going on.
It already wasn't great, but Embiid winning it, Perkins pushing his narratives, made it even worse and less valuable. In addition to that,
I definitely feel you, bro, because as an NBA analyst, you know what I'm saying, you can't be, you know what I'm saying? You represent a big platform and all that. You cannot be swaying to one side or the other for that reason. That's not I feel, bro.
it didn't help Jokic, who lost the award, won the entire championship, and Embiid flamed out again in the second round. And the last point I do want to make when it comes to Perkins, I don't think this guy's a hateful person, hates Jokic, or hates white players. What I think he is a bad analyst, kind of a buffoon,
Yeah, he
and a
fakes
clown in general. There's
He
a
fakes suck.
big difference. As always, thank you guys
Definitely
for
do
watching.
fake suck.
Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.
That's the end of this one, y'all. You know what to do. Click on the last one, turn on post notifications. I'm out of there, man. Share it with your peoples, social media platforms, all that.